Welcome back to Touring the Multiverse. I'm Miaca, and with me today is Kasi. And we've been looking into one of the Magic the Gathering settings that 5th edition has adopted, Theros.
In this episode of our discussion on Theros, we're going to look at 3 gods who kill. And of course, we'll be covering 3 powerful monsters.
All right, we're going to jump right into it with
the drama of killing today.
Oh my gosh, yes. So she's the god of the hunt, and she claims dominion over the entire natural world, especially the forest. She loves the forest. She enjoys frolicking with her Nyxborn lynx, Halma, and her favorite nymph, Theophilia. Fun fact about her lynx, Halma, she was actually hunting her one day in the forest, and she was unable to catch her. And whenever she would Nylea would give up and go back to wherever she was coming from, Hanma would just be there waiting for her or whatever, and it was just this big cat and mouse thing. And then eventually they became good friends, and so that's her ride or die now. There was a mutual respect that was developed.
Yeah, that's adorable.
Yeah. She takes the hunt very seriously. Her mood shifts to be more animalistic, especially when she is in her hunting mood. She appears as a green-skinned dryad with woody extremities. So, wood is just covering, all the other bits. Her hair is made of vines and leaves, and they change with the season. She will sometimes take on the form of a lynx or a wolf. So let me pull up a picture of her. Oh, I flipped right to the page. Perfect. So this is her, god of the hunt.
Yes.
Yep.
Looks pretty badass, to be honest.
Oh yeah, definitely. So while she is the god of the hunt, she absolutely hates those that kill for sport. So yeah, she's part of the whole killing vibe we were giving off at the beginning, but she definitely hates those that just kill just for the heck of it. You have to have a purpose behind it. And if you hurt one of her animals or just hunt for sport in general, she will find you and will try to kill you. She controls the turning of the seasons. And if she gets angry, she may prolong a season. So, think about having winter for just a year because she's upset over something. Good Lord, I couldn't.
Yeah,
sorry for those who love winter out there, but
yeah, that's some power. That's some decent power to control that, because that can cause, famine because people run out of food. It can cause animals to stay in hibernation too long. Can have a big impact.
Yeah, and in the book they talk about everyone just they say their prayers and they pray for forgiveness. We don't know what you're mad about. We weren't there when but we're asking you to please just bring on spring, or please let's let time move forward. So getting into her relationships, she doesn't like how Heliod and Afara encourage mortals to build cities. The more cities that are built, the more it kind of encroaches on forests and the natural world, and she doesn't appreciate that. She is very wary of Perforus because he inspires mortals to be destructive through his tools. She despises Karametra. She doesn't agree with the whole agricultural advances or domesticating animals. She just wants things to be open and free.
Yeah, and natural. And it's agriculture also destroys forest if they try to expand that. So, yeah.
With Iroas and Mogis, Iroas is the god of war, order, and stuff like that. Mogis is just straight up the god of slaughter. She believes their stances on warfare and slaughter is just a waste of life and energy. She also blames Phoenix, Erebos, and Atheros for the Returned. We touched on the Return a bit at the Undead series. She sees these Returned as abominations, and so she just blames those 3 for allowing it to happen. So she's
That's an interesting thing to like pinpoint as like to note about her is like these are abomination. They really are abomination.
Yeah. They are. It's like she sees it as like it was an unnatural thing to happen, and it's like, you let this happen, I blame you, and I do not like you now.
Yeah.
So she doesn't really get along with a lot of the gods. Getting into her champions, they're usually neutral, often good. Some suggested classes could be barbarian, cleric, druid, or ranger. Champions embrace the cycles of nature, so life, death, and rebirth. They are only violent when necessary. Always advocate for animals, plants, and the natural world. You can earn piety by healing the sick, stopping those who hunt for sport, proving your worth, or slaying aberration, a fiend, or undead. So she really has a thing against like undead things, like just messes with her too much with her balance.
Yeah, it's like anything to do with kind of the underworld, or once things are dead, they should just remain that way.
Yeah. Like, don't come back. You've had your time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless you are willing to be reborn and like go through the proper channels. But
yeah.
Other than that, no. You can lose piety by killing an animal for any reason. Dedicating, which I think is a little interesting. I think that's like an overlooked point, the killing an animal for any reason. Because, like, what if you're hungry? I think she wouldn't make
right? Because like she's a hunter.
Yeah.
So it's like can't always get her approval.
All right, yeah, so I didn't write that correctly. So killing an animal for any reason other than necessity. So that was my fault. So that's the way you can lose piety.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Dedicating a building or making a sacrifice to Nylea or any other god. That's a way to lose piety. Yeah. So so don't create a building. Don't make any type of sacrifice. Yeah. Don't make any type of sacrifice in my name. I thought that was weird too. I'm like, okay.
But it's about like, because she's leave things as they are. So building would be like construction. You'd have to, destroy trees to build or whatever, or clear forest to build a building. So I see. I get it.
Yeah. And then this one is also very interesting. Protecting a city or farm from natural disasters. That's a way to lose piety. So could you imagine? I know. Could you imagine just like being the only champion within your party? And it's like, oh my gosh, we have to prepare for this huge like storm from Kyranos, and Kyranos and Thassa are like working together on this huge storm. We gotta like, help protect the city or farm. And like the one person in the party is just like, I cannot help you with this.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, be what may. We have to let it happen. We can't get involved.
Like, one part of me is all like, honestly, yeah. Like, that would be my character. But or like, the other part is me like, I'm like, come on, help me, please. I don't want to die.
Or you go around just reversing all of the preparations. So like if they're, putting wood panels over windows, you just go and like tear them down.
Yeah.
Like just knock down the sandbag wall. It's like,
no. Like people are literally working hard around you. You're just like dismantling everything.
Oh god, the pressure of being her champion is high.
Oh my goodness. All right, so getting into some adventures. So if you encounter a villain, like an NPC in your campaign, who is a worshiper, she could be, this person could become just obsessed with wiping out civilizations. So like
return everything to the natural state.
Yeah, that could be a huge problem. So much you can do there throughout a campaign with that type of villain. Now she is a campaign villain, keeping all mortals out of the Nessian woods, which is like that's like her like big thing where she likes to be. So like no mortals can go into the Nessian woods. That could be a problem. Could also punish the entire polis for the actions of like 3 people. So like these 3 people maybe were hunting something and she found out about it. She could punish everybody.
Right.
Her
Maybe
punishment.
a bit of an overreactor. Maybe
Yeah.
a little bit too controlling.
Yeah. That is who she is. An adventure, the Forest Shrine. So druids and nymphs guard the Forest Shrine. If you gain their trust, they may be willing to share their secrets and knowledge with you. They are hard to get into. You have to be able to get permission to get in. When you're able to get in, it's very peaceful and provides like excellent shelter against weather and enemies. There's also sacred animals there and weapons within each forest shrine that you encounter. I'm like, okay, this is a nice, calm place. Like, it could be just like a nice resting place. Like, I'm sure other crazy stuff can happen, but like, it's nice. You can get permission from the shrine's druids to basically, if you go on a sacred hunt with them, you could like enter or something like that. And you have to do something to get that type of permission. So it's actually pretty cool. Here's a picture of the map, and in the middle is just a huge great oak. And so,
Oh yeah.
yeah. Let's actually roll on the adventure table and see what else you can do here. So,
Sure.
PC, can you roll a d10?
Here we go. We got a 7.
7. So retrieve a sacred weapon held in the grove. So like pretty low key. It's like, you can learn secrets about the forest shrine, or you can ask help from the druids who live there to like defeat a group of poachers. So again, like I'm not saying bad things can't happen within the forest shrine, because they absolutely can, but you can use it as just a way to kind of like, learn some things and rest. So
This
that,
seems
yeah.
it seems like a pretty easy backstory connection for
Mhm.
like somebody who wants to have a nature, or like if you're gonna be a druid or a ranger.
Yeah.
This would be a fun backstory, and then like a side quest where there might be something you need to go to the forest shrine because of something to do with your past.
Oh my
And
gosh, yes.
you need to like gain piety by doing something in the forest shrine, or
Mhm. Oh yeah, I
good
100%
go-to.
agree.
It's a
Like
good
it's
go-to option.
I want to play a druid so bad, and yeah, that would be an excellent this would be an excellent thing to work into like a backstory. I love it.
Yeah, and then it also is one of the ones that could, if you ended up venturing outside of Theros,
Mhm.
it could also be pretty easily transferable
Yeah.
to like nature-based stuff.
Mhm.
Cool.
Yeah, I like that. When I read about it, I'm like, oh, okay, I like that. It's like one of my fave adventures from this book.
Yeah, leaves it open. Good feelings here. Though, Nylea is maybe a bit controlling.
Yeah. I
That's
think it's kind of interesting though that she's like very controlling, but but then she has this type of like adventure that's kind of like under her, like within her chapter.
yeah.
Yeah. I also wanted to touch on really quickly that you covered Arasta in an earlier episode,
Yes.
and the story goes that she was Nylea's dryad companion at one point.
Right.
Yep. And they were like inseparable. And one day, Phoenix was envious of the pair and transformed her into that terrible monster. To prove that Nylea's love for her was only based on beauty and not true kinship. And so,
Harsh.
seeing the unfamiliar creature, Nylea was horrified and drove her away. And so I got that story a little bit mixed up. I thought it was like she pretty much didn't know it was her.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I guess I didn't get that wrong. So Shatter Arasta retreated and was terrorized and has terrorized the god's servants ever since. So Phoenix's servants, I'm guessing. To this day, Nylea remains deeply pained by the loss, knowing that only Phoenix can undo the curse laid upon the Dryad. Nylea often sends her champions to learn the secret of what might restore her friend. So thought that was very interesting.
Yeah. And I just quickly checked too that Arasta also resides in the Nessian Wood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that is a very key location.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's always some tragedy. There has to be when we're talking about the gods.
Oh, yeah. It has to be some type of like meddling and tragedy and
jealousy.
It's like, why are you jealous? like it's literally none of your business, Phoenix. What is going on here? But that's what he does. He meddles. So.
Well, we are going to dive into our first monster of the episode, and there's a theme through these monsters today: Hydras. So the monster manual gives us a stat block for Hydra and some lore. They are huge monstrosities with the body of a crocodile and many serpent heads with long necks, and the heads regrow.
Oh no.
Yeah. So whenever I think of Hydra, I am reminded, and this will, I know, annoy some listeners because we've talked about it in different episodes, but like the Disney Hercules movie, because Hercules like goes to defeat a Hydra and just goes and starts hacking off heads. But
yeah. Yep.
What Hydras just regrow heads, right? And so he just keeps hacking and hacking and hacking. And then it's just like, maybe you should try a different strategy.
Yeah.
It comes back and it has like 50 heads. It's like, stop.
Yes. There's a pattern here.
So I can't not think of Disney's Hercules when I talk about Hydras. These ones are much more horrifying, though, than that one. So the lore in the monster manual talks about Tiamat and that this queen of evil dragons slayed a rival dragon god named Lernier. Let me butcher another name for you. Lernea. And when she did so, she casted her blood across the universe. But as a result of the hatred she felt in her slaying, each drop of blood became a Hydra. And that's how Hydras got like across the universe.
Interesting.
Yep. So Hydras are always hungry, and they won't go even like they will go as far as to devour one of their own heads if they don't get food and they're in a feeding frenzy. But they are natural swimmers and they don't have their own lair. They move a lot. They are strong but not intelligent, and they can do many attacks because they have many heads, and the heads give each of them like advantages, and you get additional reactions, and so that makes them much more challenging to encounter and engage in combat. So they end up at a CR of 8 in the monster manual stat block. In the Theros book, we actually get more Hydras. Here they are also terrorize the lands and attempt to grow as large as possible in size. Once it somewhat claims an area to feed from, it actually will go underground literally and hibernate to grow and use all of the food that it has like consumed. And then once it's grown and used that, it will emerge and then go on another feeding frenzy, basically devouring any living thing it can find. And once it's consumed enough, it will then go again underground and just like grow. And it just like has that cycle.
Oh wow. Oh, I don't like that.
Yeah. But the most legendary Hydra in Theros is Polukranos. known as World Eater. It was manifested by the mortals and their ideals of the Hydra. And so they essentially made Polukranos come into being and fall from Nyx into their world. Maybe fortunately, the gods noticed this happen. And it was contained to the Nessian wood by the combined power of the gods Nylea and Heliod. This initial manifestation was destroyed, but the idea of Polukranos rising again for another feeding frenzy just was kind of remained possible and talked about in the realm of mortals. And so much so that it was then connected to the wrath of the gods being in terrible unrest. So the idea of Polukranos going on another feeding frenzy was like a terrible omen and signs of worse to come because of the gods. So it's one of those things where like it's like if you have nightmares about it or you think about it too much or talk about it too much in the mortal realm, you can make it become real.
Yeah, yep.
That's what's happened.
Ooh.
It is gargantuan in size. It has 5 heads, acidic blood, and legendary resistances. It's a siege monster, meaning it can charge and do double damage on buildings and objects. And it makes as many bite attacks as it has heads for an action. So more than likely you're going to start with 5 and you're going to have to deal with 5 bite attacks. And then it also has a stomp and a tail attack. So it is something so large, you know, your party would easily be able to run under it. You know, like the risk of a stomp isn't just a 5-foot area stomp. Like there is tangible space that this thing can destroy. But it is also very highly perceptive, and it has a passive perception of 24 and dark vision of 120 feet. And even some of its legendary actions are built for detecting you or swiping you with its tail or like charging you. So here's the kicker, like we talked about with the Hercules movie.
Yeah.
Whenever this Hydra takes 40 or more damage on a single turn, one of its heads will die. And if all the heads die, the Hydra dies. But at the end of its turn, it will grow 2 heads for each head that dies since the last turn. Yeah. So you need to get rid of all 5 in one round, or you're going to face like double the ones you did get rid of.
Jeez, that's so in one round, huh?
Yeah, because it's from the end of its turn and like, yeah, the full circle. So the only way around this to prevent it is with fire damage. So if it takes more than 40 points of fire damage since its last turn, it will be unable to regain those heads. Oh, and I should also mention, not only does it regrow 2 heads for each of the heads that died, it regains 20 hit points for each of the heads it regrows as well. So if it regrows 2, it will regain 40 hit points back. If you've cut off 2, but it's still alive, it will regain 4 heads and 40 hit points.
Oh my gosh.
Or 80 hit points, yes. So like, again, it is a slog. It is a long battle. It will wear you down.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
Yeah. All that to say, it ends up being a CR of 19. So this truly, again, is a big major battle, not something you're going to just come across and expect to win. You are going to be a higher level like party, and you are either going to seek this out to try and destroy, or you're going to have to like beef up and brace yourself for its wrath if it's coming. Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, that's a monster that requires a lot of strategy.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of teamwork with your players.
Yeah, and your efforts could also just be futile if you don't, because you'll just keep hacking away and it will just regrow and regrow.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's interesting the connection to the Nessian wood as well. I don't know in what right mind any party would go into these woods after talking about the god
right.
affiliation and the monsters within.
Mm-hmm.
Because yikes.
Gotta be brave. It's good. Like, yeah, it's a lot. A lot going on in there.
Yeah, but I can see how it fits in with like it kind of fits with the Arasta theme of the creature that lurks in the woods and is feared.
Yeah.
And by default it's connected to Nylea as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting that there is a connection there. I like the fact, like, it's terrifying, but you said that it goes underground to like regain like
it
hit
grows.
points, and yeah, it grows, you said?
Yeah, so its intent is to consume in a feeding frenzy and then go underground to grow itself larger, and then it will emerge and do that again because it just wants to get larger and larger.
Oh no, yeah, that thing's gotta go. We gotta kill this thing. It's terrifying. Well, we're gonna move into a god that's all about victory and order and war and being honorable. So let's talk about Iroas, the god of victory and war. So all soldiers and mercenaries, they pray to him, and common folk pray to him for courage and fortitude. He often appears as a powerfully built centaur with a bull's body rather than a horse, and he wears armor and he carries around a spear and a shield. This is what he looks like.
Nice.
Yep.
Very Spartan warrior, like with a bull body.
Yeah, with the body of a bull. He has been known to appear as a burly soldier or as a mighty bull before his followers. He personifies honorable combat. So what in the book, what it means is like they say he is the battle cry on the field. He is like, the rallying, or like he is there, if that makes sense. He is that spirit that is there within combat. So he personifies all of that. Even though war is terrible, he sees it as necessary. To Iroas, engaging in battle is the highest calling that one can have. The Iroan Games are celebrated in his honor. Here, athletes compete and hope to be visited by Iroas himself. So it's like the Olympics, basically. He hates his twin Mogis, who is the god of slaughter. Iroas sees warfare as honorable, where Mogis does not. He does not feel like Mogis is honorable in any way. So these two are complete opposites. He has respect for Perforus. He directly influences the mortal weapons. And so like those two, there's like a respect, or he has respect for Perforus in that regard. He seeks Heliod's guidance from time to time, and they kind of balance each other out, which that's understandable. Like, not too much. I feel like Iroas won't be around Heliod not like that much, but like, his guidance and advice is appreciated. As far as champions goes, we have usually chaotic, often good. Suggested classes: barbarian, cleric, fighter, paladin, and sorcerer. Champions are warriors for honor and justice, and are motivated by personal codes of honor. So thinking back to that paladin that you covered.
Yeah, that's actually what I wanted to look up. I'm like, yeah, this screams that paladin subclass option that was introduced in this book.
You don't have to, but if you are going to be playing in Theros and you want to play a paladin, you might want to become an Iroas champion.
Yeah, totally. It just makes sense.
Earning piety, achieving great victory, overcoming odds honorably, defeating a skilled foe in a single combat, and winning a great feat. So those are ways you can earn it. Showing cowardice in battle, besting an honorable foe through deceit, harming innocence, and non-combatants will make you lose piety. Did you want to read something about the paladin?
I was going to, and then I was.
You don't have to. We don't want to.
I was flipping too much. I just wanted to remind myself of the name of it. Oh yes, of course. It's the Paladin Oath of Glory.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah,
suitable.
You have to have Iroas as the god. He has to be the guy for you if you're going to be that type of paladin. All right, getting into some of his villains. So if there's an NPC who is a follower of Iroas, they are very easy to forsake compassion and mercy. So they can just take it a step too far. Example could be a commander who would sacrifice his unit to a hopeless battle. So he, like, this commander probably wouldn't try anymore if he's like, we're not going to win. Everyone stop fighting and like just kill us now. It's like, what are you doing? It can like go pretty far. Get pretty depressing. Iroas as a campaign villain, he might be blinded by his desire to win a battle, not really caring who he hurts in the process, especially if his honor or Mogis is involved. So, like, you get his twin brother involved, he's just gonna see red. And an adventure is the arena. This is where you can find athletic competitions and of course worship Iroas. Player characters can be featured as contestants here. For the winners, the reward could be treasure, of course, a favor, or an audience with someone of importance, even Iroas. So we're gonna roll a D8 and we're gonna talk about an adventure.
We got a 5.
Assassinate a person watching a competition before the final match ends. Good Lord. So that's like a full-on mission right there.
That sounds like a Mogis mission.
Exactly. Go ahead and roll the D8 again. We're going to talk about the arena villains. So these are people causing issues within the arena.
4.
A mage uses magic to spy on athletes' conversations and then blackmails them with the information. Oh, I'm living for that drama. So here's the arena. It's pretty straightforward, you know. It's like a lot going on, a lot of sport stuff, and you know.
Yeah, the underbelly is a little more complex.
Yeah. Yep. So
yeah. Everybody likes a good like competition sabotage.
Oh yeah. Like I'm here for it. I don't want to be involved in it, but don't do it to me. But I'm here for the drama of it. So yeah, I like Iroas. What do you think of him?
Yep, he's great. There's always gonna be that in the world, and there's gonna be people who embrace it. And so we may hate their champions, but also need them.
Yeah, like these, like if you play it right, if you play that paladin right, internet, like it would be amazing. Be so amazing. It'd be annoying as hell, but it would be pretty amazing too.
Yeah. And like we have played in our campaign, there was a moment in time where we were at like a gladiator style coliseum where there was epic combats going on with many a monster. There was negotiation around us competing, having to give over our like future in life in order to do all the stuff, you know, like you can take it as a battle royale style thing if you wanted to do it as a one shot on Theros, an Iroan, you know, competition in the Iroan games. You could have a one shot where you host the Iroan games.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So it kind of gives you like there's even thinking outside of a like thorough campaign in could be little bits and pieces that you could do in other campaigns and just be like inspired by, or it could be a one shot that you just put together to do this, and everybody has to create some sort of player that has, pick your god, just like, and then there's the behind the scenes. Oh my god, you picked Mogis? Really?
Yes.
And
Yes.
just live into the history of the relationships, because that's a big part of the gods, is who hates who loves who. So
Yeah.
I think that would be really fun, and this one just speaks to that a lot.
No, yeah, I totally agree with you. That that would be a lot of fun. And like you could make it, it's just if you don't want to do a combat heavy thing, you don't really have to. You know what I mean? I mean, it would take away a lot, but if you wanted to be focused on the games and just rolling and like relationships and just like a lot of role playing, you could go that way. Or you could just go full out like, what am I trying to say? You could just get
Like
into
be
it.
one of the champions.
Yeah. You could just get into it and losing brain cells. But yeah,
But
you know
yeah,
what I'm
you're
saying,
right.
Casey.
Yeah, like you can go in to be a champion and fight
Mhm.
the monsters and fight the other champions. You could be somebody who's working the crowd and making bets or
Yeah.
stealing or influencing, sabotaging the results.
Mhm.
Going in and like stabbing the one champion in like the side to give them a disadvantage in the battle against another one.
Mhm.
All those cruel and horrific things.
Yeah. Or like the party could work security at like these games, and then just a whole bunch of just craziness just breaks out. Oh, that would be funny.
Yeah. Someone just opens all the cage doors.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah. Endless.
Yes. So much you can do there.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to our next monster, who is the Ironscale Hydra. This is also a 5-headed Hydra with iron scales. It is gargantuan in size, and perhaps more commonly the type of Hydra that heroes and champions seek out to test their strength and gain favor or gain piety. They can be found more commonly in boggy areas or lakes. And they are slightly less beefy than the Polukranos. And though it does have iron scale, it is at the same AC as Polukranos, which was 17. It doesn't have quite the dark vision and the perception. It's at 18 instead of 24, but it still has the acid blood, the 5 heads, and the advantages and the reaction advantages that brings. But its attacks are limited just to the bite attack for as many heads. So it doesn't have the legendary like stuff. So that makes it a CR of 12. And there is art for this one in the book. And to me, it generally looks like a gargantuan crocodile with more like armor covered dragon heads versus like serpenty looking heads. So it's pretty cool. And the Ironscale Hydra also has the same abilities of heads dying and regrowing, but instead it has 35 hit points or more of damage for a head to die, and it won't regrow 2 heads if it takes any amount of fire damage. So that is a bit of a difference. It's not like the other one was, it must take 40 points of fire damage or more. This one, if it takes any amount of fire damage, it won't regrow the heads. And then the hit point regain is less as well per head. So, nothing to laugh at, but perhaps a bit more of a tangible combat scenario. This one may be thrown into a coliseum for battle in the Iroan games. So that's the Ironscale Hydra.
Okay, so it's does it do the whole going underground thing? I think you said no, it doesn't.
No,
Okay, so
it's a little less complicated.
yeah.
Has a few less like devastating types of abilities, and like it's just still wants to consume and goes on like feeding frenzies, but it's just perhaps a little less devastating.
Yeah. Okay, I feel like I could take that on. I could defeat that. The other thing, no, but this, all right. It's doable.
Yeah, and I think what they are trying to do is give a boost up from the monster manual Hydra, which is a CR of 8. So they want it's like somewhere in the middle. There's that, and then there's this one, which is, CR of 12. It's more of a challenge, but maybe a bit more feasible or easy to put into your campaign. Versus like Polukranos, which is a CR of 19. That is actually going to come up a lot less. It's a lot more of a final battle or something that you have to build up to for a one-time kind of thing. So I guess they're kind of trying to meet in the middle and bring something new.
Okay.
So take it as that. It's more of your realistic, I think maybe I could use this.
All right.
Yeah.
I have no respect for the first one, but I have some respect for this one. Because I can see myself defeating it and not getting all that frustrated. I'll be frustrated, but not too frustrated.
I'll take it, Miaca.
Yeah. All right, let's get into Mogis. So Mogis is the god of slaughter, violence, and war as well. But he's not war and victory. He's just war. According to the text, Mogis is hatred unrestrained, empathy denied, and mercy forgotten. He has zero control of his temper and urges. Surprise, surprise. If soldiers were to give into his battle rage, they risk becoming an androphage. I didn't get that one either.
Androphage, I would say.
Yeah. And this is a bloodthirsty killer consumed by Mogis's fury. Mogis appears as a 4-horned minotaur with spiked bronze armor. He carries a huge ebon great axe. He takes on no other forms because he wishes to be scary all the time. And this is what he looks like.
Oh, jeez.
Yep.
He does also have like bull-like qualities. The minotaur, like akinness to his twin.
Yeah. Relationships. He hates his brother, of course, Iroas, and he is on the hunt to destroy him. Erebos and Mogis, they get along. Erebos is the god of the underworld. He especially likes how Mogis's influence keeps sending mortals to the underworld. So, like, people keep dying. Erebos is like, I'll allow it.
Yeah. Like Mogis is keeping the lights on for Erebos.
That's what I thought too. Like keeping me.
We'll be in business.
Yeah. Mogis only has respect for Phoenix. He appreciates the chaos of Phoenix's return. So he's like, oh, okay. Appreciate that. Much like a lot of respect for that. For everyone else, Mogis holds little respect for. It's just that was it. So again, gets along with Erebos and has respect for Phoenix, but like hates his brother and everyone else. I feel like no one wants to talk to him. No one really wants to engage with him.
And I feel like he's happy about that.
Yep. So if you want to be his champion, you're usually chaotic, often evil. Classes are barbarian, cleric, druid, fighter, and warlock. Champions of Mogis are the anti-heroes, motivated by rage, tortured souls who just want vengeance. You can earn piety by defeating a champion of Iroas, taking vengeance on a powerful foe, burning a polis or settlement, desecrating a temple of Iroas. It's like
it's just all about anything you can do to piss Iroas off or desecrate his stuff. I'm happy.
Yep, here's some points for you. Everyone gets points if you do that. You can lose piety by failing to carry out a sworn vendetta, publicly displaying weakness or compassion, and rejecting a duel. That's what I should say. A duel out of fear. So that's a way to lose it. Going into his villains, if you come across an NPC that's a Mogis follower or champion, they are the villain. Again, they are the anti-heroes of Theros, so they could be seeking revenge or they could just be pillaging a countryside. They are going to be the issues. And I have a roll of d8. So, Kasi, I'm going to get you to roll a d8 and I'm going to get to the right page.
All right. Well, we got a 1.
A 1. And this is for his villains. All right. A petty tyrant gladiator rules his populace through threats and intimidation. His favorite pastime is forcing unwilling subjects to fight in a gladiator's blood sport. So that's a villain you could come across in if you're coming across a Mogis follower or champion, that's who you're going to come across. Mogis as a campaign villain. This text says putting Iroas and Mogis in some type of sibling war could be the backdrop of a campaign that's just kind of ongoing. So go ahead and roll a d4. Let's see what else it says.
We got a 4.
4. Mogis agrees to ally with 3 other gods against their rivals to help him defeat Iroas. Mogis's brother does the same. Soon, the entire pantheon divides along faction lines and prepare for the final war. That's actually epic.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, there's so much planning you could do with that.
Yeah.
I love that.
We have seen in our campaign the allyship of gods and demigods, and nothing good comes from it.
Nope, nothing good. But think about working that throughout the entire campaign, and when your players get to level 20, it's about to go down.
Yeah, and like who they follow in the beginning and the evolution of how that might change and how it might change which side they're on before they even realize they're going to encounter this big like separation and battle.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a lot. An adventure that you could play is the Canyon Shrine. This is where followers of Mogis worship and offer sacrifices. The adventure here could be horrific. The party could come here to rescue captives or cleanse the place of evil. And so this is what it looks like. And then I'm gonna get you to roll a d10 so we can see what kind of adventure would happen. So this is like it's like weird.
Oh geez.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, I guess a canyon, you are easily lost. The risk of death is high.
Yep.
And I rolled a 9.
A 9. Infiltrate a cult of Mogis to learn of any raids they have planned. Oof, yeah. So it makes sense because it says that like this place is gonna be full of monsters and stuff like that, and you're gonna come across like a pretty crazy cult.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Just out for blood and killing. All the sacrifices.
Yep, just a bunch of sacrifices just leading up. Maybe you're coming across a bunch of just bones. Just bones and just death.
Yeah, like heaps of burning bodies, like they can't keep up.
Yeah,
but all in the name of Mogis.
Yes. So that is Mogis. He's a wild guy.
Yeah, satisfies some people though.
Oh yeah. Again, I really like that whole like the final war, like the pantheon is just going against each other. That would be a lot of fun. And it's like it wouldn't be something that I would just get to right away. I would build it up like throughout the campaign. You know what I mean? Like people are slowly taking sides and working up to that big final battle. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, and the most fucked up thing is the gods can't die. So they will just be sending their champions and their followers into that fight. And so they are just going to, pick sides, create this chaos, make the battle. All of so many people are gonna die, so many champions, so many followers, and then whoever wins at the end, it's like, I'm annoyed.
Yeah.
And then they will just all disperse and go back to their shit.
Yeah, exactly. And Erebos is just gonna be happy because he's like, I got all these people.
Yeah.
Welcome. Come on in.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, just ruining everything.
Okay, well, on that such positive note, we're not getting any better.
Oh Lord.
Our final monster for today is called the Eater of Hope.
Oh my.
Yep.
All right.
So this is a fiend, and on Theros, the term demon also encompasses all fiends. The Eater of Hope is bitter to the core, the destroyer of life, joy, and thus hope. Their preference is for despair and terror to overcome their victims before finally killing them and eating them. They are also hoarders of treasure, and so they use that treasure against mortals to cause greed, betrayal, and then more terror. The art in the book for this large fiend is it's like black or dark skinned humanoid creature with gold jewelry and a huge, I don't know whether it's a crown or a helmet that is in the shape of fiendish horns and large wings and glowing eyes. It's quite terrifying, if I'm honest.
I gotta see what this looks like.
Yeah, 220 is the page.
Okay. Oh my.
Yeah, it's got that fiendish, devilish, or no, not devil necessarily, like fiendish demon look. But then it's got this bling and all of this gold and glowing spots and stuff on it.
Yeah, it's fancy.
Yeah, fancy. And when you look at their stat block, like the Eater of Hope is less than 100 hit points, but still a decent AC at 17. And it can fly, which, always adds a bit of challenge.
Yeah.
And they are skilled in deception, intimidation, and persuasion. They have cold and necrotic resistances, immunity to poison, and lots of times when we've talked about these monsters, language doesn't really come into play because they're more like animalistic or you're just not going to interact with them. But this one speaks 3 languages: the abyssal, common, and infernal. So that brings them to a CR of 6. They also can, speaking to that hoarder mentality, they can sense the presence of gold within 1,000 feet of themselves and can even tell which direction it moves if the gold is moving. And it doesn't have the most stellar attack actions. It has claws. It can make 2 claw attacks. But then it does have breath of hopelessness.
Oh my.
So this is where it exhales a miasma of underworld wind.
Wow.
And I know that is as written, miasma of underworld wind. In a 30-foot cone, and creatures in that area must make a con save or take 4d12 necrotic damage and be cursed for 1 minute. So while cursed, the target will take an extra 1d12 damage whenever the Eater of Hope hits it again with an attack. So it's just relentless.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you manage to be successful on that con save, you will just take half of that necrotic damage, and you're not cursed. But that's it. That it's not super complex. It has that breath of hopelessness is gonna be your go-to to cause some bigger devastation. But yeah, just awful. Just an awful piece of shit.
Yeah. Is it common for fiends in general to always go after gold? Because I feel like There was something else you covered. Yeah.
Yeah, and that also was a fiend where it had that insatiable greed where it could sense gold.
Yeah.
I feel like it maybe is something that's more common as a trait they have, which is not a good one.
Yeah. Like they go they go where the money is.
Yeah. And it's not even that they want it to get rich. It's that they want it to use it to control others so that they can manipulate and cause greed in other people and other creatures.
Yeah. It's so cool that like it can talk with you, and it's like +6 deception, intimidation, and persuasion. Like it's a lot of fun you can have with that, like talking with players and stuff like that as a DM.
Yeah. Yeah. Imagine if you did have to just go get some information or negotiate with this thing for whatever reason, and by the time you leave, every party member is just massively depressed.
Yes.
And it's just like, I don't even know why we do anything anymore. This is horrible.
Right. It's like I don't feel better about myself after talking with this guy.
Yeah, it's like we need to get away. He's sucking the hope and joy from us, and he's just over there. They are just over there, happy as a clam while you're in misery.
Yep.
So some DMs would get a thrill out of that because it can shift the mental state of your party for a little while, and we like a good twist.
Oh yeah. Sometimes.
Miaca's like, within reason.
Within reason.
I have to respect it.
Like, because exactly. I have to respect I have to respect it. I have to be in the mood for it, and it can't cause a lot of work or a lot of walking.
Yeah. Otherwise, you better get me a mount because I'm not doing it.
Telling you.
Yeah, we know you well.
Yep. It's kind of sad. But
we love you for it.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, that's a wrap for this episode in our monthly discussion on Theros. Don't forget to check out some of the other series on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and other podcast apps, and become one of our patrons to get access to bonus episodes, book reviews, discussions on homebrewing details, and the It's a Mimic campaign builder.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Touring the Multiverse on the It's a Mimic channels. If you'd like to support us, we have a donate button on our website, itsamimic.com, a store with some of It's a Mimic merch, and a Patreon. But one of the best things you can do is share, like, subscribe, comment, leave reviews, and make posts about It's a Mimic and this series. Engagements like that help us create more content for you to consume. But even if you don't, I want to say thanks for listening to It's a Mimic, where you never know what you're going to get. Ugh. Oh, the gods.
Uh-oh, did I freeze?
Oh, yeah, you did. Oh, is it the computer? Uh-oh.
Come on. Oh, you're back.
Okay. Yeah, you're back too.
I'm like, and I think you're frozen.
Telling me internet is unstable. The internet has been so weird today.
Oh, geez. Okay, what was the last thing you heard?
I think I was talking.
Oh, no.
I forgot what I said. I think I said something, and then you started to just you were starting to say something, but it cut out.
Okay.
Oh, you said this is the last one.
Oh, yes, because
I don't know.
I was because you were talking about that big epic last battle.
Yeah.
And the hilarious thing is that the gods can't die.
Boom.
Woo! Boom.
We did it.
Crushed it.
Oof.